You saw the thumbnail? Yes, 15 towns where the classic Florida dream is still on sale. Not the glossy high-rise version. The Spanish Moss, Tractors on Tuesday, pay half what they pay on the coast version. Here's the thing. You trade beach traffic for oak canopies, HOA drama for porch swings, and that fancy steakhouse for a 40-minute drive. But the discount, real. We're breaking down the quirks, the commute math, and whether the nearest hospital is 10 minutes or pack a snack. Stay through all 15 because the last 3 are the cheapest. And the weirdest. Before we continue, let's hit subscribe so you never miss the latest updates. Number 1, Inglis. A tiny town where you can launch a boat into the Gulf and still pay what people drop on a used SUV. It sounds like a prank, it's not. Welcome to Inglis. This is old Florida on Withlacoochee Bay. Oak tunnels, Spanish moss, and silence you can actually hear. You're minutes from open Gulf water without the jet ski circus. No towers, no traffic orchestra, just marsh, birds, and a couple of locals debating tides over black coffee. But here's the catch. It's cheap because the conveniences are thin. Limited retail, older housing stock, slower job base. You swap Target runs for bait shops, a hardware store that smells like oiled wood, and a breakfast counter that remembers your grits order by week 2. So here's the thing. Median home prices trend under flashier Citrus County spots, and that delta is your opportunity. Recreation? Crystal River's manatees are within an easy drive, so your winter sport becomes a paddle with sea cows instead of a crowded beach day. Insurance. Flood zones matter. Inglis has low-lying marsh stretches and higher elevation pockets. The right lot can change your premium line like flipping a switch. Daily life moves on kayak time. Cast from a public pier at sunrise. Hit thrift stores where a $6 lamp follows you home. For major shopping or hospitals, expect 30 to 45 minutes. You'll plan grocery runs like missions, then forget the list because a tarpon rolled next to your dock. And the mini payoff lands fast. HOA? Basically zero. Backyard? Mullet jump at sunset like a free screensaver. Low cost, high quirk, and trees over traffic. So, if you want trees over traffic, the next spot doubles down on lake life and live music nights. Number 2, Melrose. A rural village where retirees buy into a lake culture for the price of a down payment in Miami. Sounds fake? Melrose makes it work because it sits at the crossroads of Alachua, Putnam, and Bradford. Part art scene, part lake country, anchored by Santa Fe Lake and a low-key downtown that moves at porch swing speed. Dreamy lakes mean ski boats and fat budgets, right? Not here. The catch is structural. Multiple counties mean mixed tax millage and different rulebooks on the same block, which keeps pricing uneven. Older cottages and modest ranches blend with lake houses, so the median doesn't run away. You get lake life without the premium line item. Here's the thing. Gainesville sits about 25 to 35 minutes west, so you raid big city perks without paying for them. UF Health/Shands covers specialists. Theaters and college sports scratch the culture itch. Then you drive home to quiet. That split is the money play. Santa Fe Lake is the flex. Clear water by Florida standards with public boat access so you don't need a pricey marina slip. Weekday mornings stay calm, which is when retirees actually go. Commuting patterns tilt toward Gainesville for appointments and the occasional Costco raid, not daily cubicle duty, so traffic stress stays reasonable. Taxes shift at county lines and homestead exemptions help once you make it your primary. That's where monthly carrying costs drop hard. Less insurance drama inland, no Lux HOA demanding new mailbox paint every quarter. First Friday art walks, farm stands on the edge of town, and yard sales that feel like community potlucks round out the social calendar. You trade midnight nightlife for Saturday mornings that actually deliver. Mini payoff. Lower mortgage, lower taxes, and you still pop into Gainesville for a concert or a specialist. If you want even deeper old Florida with front porch governance, keep heading north. Number 3, Madison. A courthouse square town where your neighbor waves and your budget breathes. Madison sits right on I-10, which is the cheat code. Classic southern homes, moss-draped streets, and a steady pulse from North Florida College keep it lively without chaos. You can jump west to Tallahassee in about an hour for big city stuff, then slide back to porches and quiet. It's charming, but is it too far from modern life? That's the test. Day to day, you get more church suppers than sushi, and the mall is your car headed down the interstate. But here's the catch. Utilities, taxes, and housing costs stay tame because growth isn't blasting. Deliberate beats explosive, which keeps the cost of living predictable. Let's break it down. Median home prices here sit well under Tallahassee's, which means your mortgage feels like a phone bill, not a second career. For healthcare, serious appointments push you to Tallahassee's hospitals, so plan for that drive. Crime snapshots trend calmer than big metros. Violent and property rates are typically lower in rural counties, though you still lock the truck. Hurricanes? Inland placement cuts storm surge risk. You'll get wind and rain, but you're not stacking sandbags against the Gulf. Weekly rhythm sells it. Saturday farmers markets. Friday night high school games that pull half the town. Antique hunts that actually yield deals, not Instagram props. It's like living in a slow feed news app. Only the good stuff refreshes. Mini payoff. You cut your monthly burn in half and still get community on tap. You might drive for date night, but you'll live cheaper than your coastal friends and your porch becomes the default hangout. Prefer salt air with small town economies? There's a tiny island that time skipped. Number 4. Cedar Key. An island that feels like a postcard from 1978, where the loudest thing is a golf cart horn. Cedar Key runs on seafood shacks, artist co-ops, and a proud lack of chain stores. Single bridge in, slow pace, small town head nods. It's pure throwback, and it stays that way by choice. But islands scream pricey insurance and tourist markup. Is this still affordable? Here's the thing. Yes, if you play it right. The footprint is tiny, so inventory is tight, but the mix matters. Condos and older cottages offer entries that don't torch a retirement budget. The off-season is long and quiet, which keeps demand from going full beach circus and keeps asking prices from chasing Miami numbers. Now the catch. Flood and wind insurance are real lines in your spreadsheet. Elevation changes street to street, and FEMA maps show the difference between a tolerable premium and a nope. Pick higher ground and newer roofs when you can. Some rental rules limit short-term turnover, which cools second home bidding wars and stabilizes prices for people who actually live here. Daily life pays you in calm. You kayak along a nature preserve before lunch. You eat oysters at sunset and hear actual birds, not leaf blowers. Zero stoplights. The store run is simple. The vibe is simpler. It's like living in a screensaver with a bait bucket. Mini payoff. You accept a higher insurance line but crush your purchase price compared to big coastal metros. Net monthly can still win when the mortgage is sane and the pace is slower. Ready for hill country meets antebellum charm at half the Orlando price? Number 5. Monticello. A town where Victorian porches outnumber parking meters and prices lag the city by years. Monticello serves up historic homes, oak tunnels, and a sleepy square that actually sleeps. You're 25 to 35 minutes from Tallahassee, which means you borrow the city's doctors and flights, then come home to quiet streets and porch fans. It's like living in a time capsule with a freeway pass. Too quaint to be practical? Or the perfect hedge against city creep? Here's the thing. You get low acquisition costs and walkable charm, but you trade trendy restaurants for meat and 3 lunches and the occasional tractor holding the line at 28 miles per hour. If your schedule runs on patience, it works. If you need late-night poke bowls, pass. Let's break it down. Median home price trends here under Leon counties, which is why retirees pounce. Property tax millage is lighter, and once you claim homestead, you get a cushion that keeps your bill steady. The commute is simple highway miles. State workers do it daily, so appointments and airport runs stay predictable. That state employee retiree crowd? Big reason the town stays tidy and solvent. Insurance leans friendlier inland, without coastal wind drama chewing your budget. That's real money over a decade. Daily life feels easy. Bluegrass on the lawn, small festivals that don't gridlock anything, courthouse lights during the holidays that make the square feel like a set from a feel-good movie without the corny dialogue. Mini payoff. You stack big city appointments with small town bills. Solvency with style. The porch swing wins, the ledger smiles, and your week finally has white space. If water calls you, the next town is springs, rainbows, and retirees with kayaks. Number 6, Dunnellon. Crystal clear water you can literally float down. And you didn't pay resort money to live nearby. That's Dunnellon's flex, and yes, it's real. The Rainbow River looks filtered in person, and the Withlacoochee adds the wild twist. So why is water adjacency not nuking your budget? Here's the catch. Dunallen never went full mega resort. The housing stock is a mashup. Older CBS ranches, river-adjacent cottages, and manufactured homes on larger lots. No glossy high-rise pipeline, which means the median home price doesn't sprint into Fantasyland. You still get the vibe without the luxury tax. Ocala's growth is your safety net. You run 25 to 40 minutes for hospitals, specialists, and the big box loop. Then come back to small-town Main Street energy where the bank tellers know the week's fishing report. That split is the wallet win. Research-wise, the rainbow stays famously clear because it's spring-fed. Public access exists, but you'll pay modest park or launch fees that keep crowds manageable. Some neighborhoods are HOA-free and proud of it, while others are deed-restricted, so you pick your rules. Inland insurance is a calmer line item than the coast. Wind premiums don't try to end your hobby budget. Day-to-day is zen with errands. Tubing Saturdays. Thrift flips that turn $5 into a side table. Diner pie that clowns any chain dessert. Traffic is sane except when tubers swarm on peak holidays. Then it's yard work and naps while the river does its thing. Mini payoff. River lifestyle, inland pricing. You give up a few amenities on your street and gain a better bank balance every month. It's like living in a permanent Sunday afternoon. Prefer a little panhandle flair without the panhandle price? Try a Georgia-leaning gem next. Number 7, Havana. A former tobacco town that pivoted to arts and antiques and forgot to raise the prices. That's Havana. North of Tallahassee by a quick hop, it's small, artsy, and proud of being both. Brick storefronts, painted murals, antique barns that feel like indoor scavenger hunts. The pace is easy, the smiles are real, and the price tags don't try to mug you. Can you thrive with boutique charm but minimal big box convenience? Yes, if you like your errands simple and your Saturdays slow. But here's the catch. You'll drive to the city for bulk shopping and specialist visits. Daily life is calm roads, locals first businesses, and actual yard space, so your grill and your tomatoes can coexist. Here's the thing. Tallahassee plugs in healthcare, flights, and Costco. You use it when you need it, then retreat to lower overhead. Gadsden County taxes typically shake out lighter than Leon's, and median home prices trail the capital by a step, which helps your monthly burn. Commute reliability is solid. Straight shots into town with predictable time windows outside rush hours. Crime snapshots lean lower than big metros, though you still lock the truck. Cell and broadband? Coverage has improved with new build-outs, but check the exact street. Fiber is block-by-block reality. And then the lifestyle sneaks up on you. Your weekends become browsing aisles of old tools and mid-century lamps, chatting with shop owners who remember your dog's name and your last haggled price. It's like living in a well-edited thrift reel, only quieter. Mini payoff. Wallet-friendly, community high. You drive for Costco, not for connection. What if the town itself is a vibe? Citrus trees, old oaks, and a time capsule main drag. Number 8, Floral City. Live on a canopy road where bicyclists outnumber tourists and oranges are a personality trait. That's Floral City in one sentence. Unhurried, citrusy, and strangely affordable for how pretty it drives. You're pinned to the Withlacoochee State Trail, so the rhythm shifts. Mossy roads, old Florida canals, the kind of quiet where you hear gears clicking on bikes more than traffic. It looks remote, but it's not exile. Does quiet mean isolated or strategically inexpensive? Here's the twist. You're close to Inverness for groceries, clinics, and hardware, but you skip the premiums that attach to louder, flashier markets. That gap is your edge. Housing is flexible. Older block homes that haven't been HGTV'd to death. Mobile-friendly pockets with lot space and lower buy-ins. You can go simple and keep cash flow, or renovate slow and still stay under coastal numbers. That optionality is rare. Quality of life boost is real with the trail. Safe daily miles, social rides, and zero gym membership drama. Some streets allow golf carts, which drops your fuel bill and turns errands into rolling conversations. Do the flood math, though. Canal-adjacent lots can sit lower, so pull the floodplain maps and elevation before you get seduced by the dock. Inland insurance usually beats coastal by a mile. Wind premiums don't set your wallet on fire. But pick a roof age and elevation that keep your policy friendly. Weekly Rhythm sells it. Morning ride on the trail, afternoon feed store run for mulch in a tomato cage. Sunset under live oaks while the air smells faintly like citrus and cut grass. Mini payoff. Exercise, serenity, and a mortgage that feels like 2009. Want a small city with lakes, racetracks, and legit medical hubs? Number 9, Sebring. A town built around lakes and a world-famous racetrack where housing is shockingly sane. You get water, golf, and the 12 hours of Sebring, but not the coastal sticker shock. Let that sink in. So, here's the thing. Sports tourism spikes for a weekend, then the noise drops and the retirees reclaim the mornings. The race is intense but brief. The rest of the calendar is fishing at sunrise, farmers markets, and golf carts puttering to breakfast. Inventory runs wide. Classic ranches, 55-plus communities with clubhouses, and non-HOA pockets where no one finds you for the wrong trash can. But here's the catch. You're trading beach crowds for boat ramps. That trade pays. Median home prices run well under Sarasota's tier, and those inland property insurance quotes won't try to cancel your hobby budget. You're not paying for wind exposure, you're paying for a roof and a dock. Healthcare is covered. Advent Health and HCA networks anchor the area, and specialists rotate through. You can book cardiac, ortho, and imaging without a 2-hour highway saga. For deeper care, you still have doable drives, but most needs get handled local. Let's break it down with real money. Swap oceanfront fantasy for a lake access home and keep hundreds a month. Gas is lower when your weekend is a 10-minute tow to the ramp, not a bridge crawl. HOA fees? Optional. Golf memberships are competitive because there's choice. Mini payoff? Stable roads, steady utilities, legit hospitals, and easy lake days on a retiree budget. You keep the toy fund intact instead of feeding it to premiums and parking meters. If you want boutique and beautiful with tourists, but still under big city costs, this next one is sneaky popular. Number 10, Mount Dora. A charming hill town with festivals every 5 minutes and deals hiding in older neighborhoods. Mount Dora's core is catnip for retirees. Antiques, art shows, and lake views that make your phone camera look good by accident. The downtown stays walkable, caffeinated, and busy enough that weekdays feel like soft weekends. That's the lure. Popularity usually nukes affordability. Is it already gone? Not if you play the map. The tourist strip wants premium money, sure. But here's the catch. Step a few blocks off the postcard and price is cool. Slide toward Eustis or Tavares and the median home price drops again, while you still use the same lakes and roads. It's the zip code shuffle, and it works. Lake County's medical network is the quiet advantage. Clinics, labs, specialists. The routine stuff sits close, so you aren't burning a tank for every checkup. You also get an Orlando commute that's realistic when needed without paying Orlando numbers for your mortgage. Property taxes get softer once you claim homestead, which locks in savings and calms your year-over-year increases. Nearby 55-plus communities give you clubhouse life if you want it, or you can choose no HOA streets and keep your lawn gnome army intact. Lifestyle is loaded. Boat parades on the lake. Craft fairs that turn into half the town browsing leather belts and glass art. Walkable cafes where the barista learns your decaf order by week 2. Winter crowds? Yes, they fill parking and tip jars, and that money funds the fun. Events, upkeep, the whole vibe. Mini payoff. You live near the pretty postcard without buying the postcard store. If you prefer peace and pines over festivals, head northwest where rivers meet rails. Number 11, Live Oak. A town where you can hit 3 springs before lunch and still pay a mortgage that looks like a car note. It's real. It's happening. Welcome to Live Oak. You're in Suwannee River Country. Blue-green springs, local festivals, and small-town pride that shows up for everything from parades to high school bands. The vibe is friendly, the pace is low, and the cost of living stays sane. But is it too remote? That's the nagging question. You're not getting a mall crawl or a sushi strip. You'll drive for certain specialists and bigger shopping days. But here's the catch. Cheap land keeps buy-ins low. Zoning stays friendly for workshops and RV pads, and the stress dial sits at a 2. Let's break it down. Suwannee County's median home price trails bigger metros by a mile, so you aren't playing bidding war roulette. Hospital coverage exists in town for routine stuff. Advanced care means a highway run, which retirees plan into their calendar like a Costco mission. Broadband is improving. State-backed expansions are wiring more streets each quarter. So you check the exact address and pick a provider that actually delivers the posted speed. Springs and river corridors are gorgeous, but floodplains are real. Pull the maps, note base elevations, and favor higher lots or homes with raised foundations. Storms bring wind and rain, not coastal surge, yet drainage and roof age still dictate your insurance quote. Daily life hits simple notes. Gardening beds, weekday spring dips, weekend music festivals. Low HOA footprint means fewer surprise fees and more freedom for sheds, boats, and hobbies. Mini payoff. Accept a slower supply chain for fancy stuff, and your bank account smiles every month. Want quaint with rolling hills and an actual city within reach? Try this next ridge town. Number 12. Dade City. Old Florida meets rolling hills. Yes, real hills. In a town that still sells sanity by the square foot, Dade City sits just north of Tampa's sprawl with courthouse charm, antique rows, and festivals that pull the whole county. Farm vibes aren't a costume here. They're Tuesday. It's quaint without being sleepy. Tampa pressure creeping in. Does it crush prices and quiet? Here's the thing. Not if you play the buffers. Distance plus zoning slows the stampede. You get actual neighborhoods where the median home price doesn't cosplay as Miami, and 55-plus communities nearby that keep fees predictable while giving you pools and pickleball without the drama. Let's break it down. Pasco County runs a price gradient. Cheapest inland, hotter near the interstates and South End. Dade City rides the middle lane, which is why your cost per square foot stays reasonable. Commute math is workable. Wesley Chapel medical centers are a straight shot, and Tampa's big hospitals are within a manageable drive window if you book around rush hour. Property taxes land in a middle bracket. Then Homestead shaves the annual creep so your budget stops playing whack-a-mole. Golf cart rules? Some neighborhoods in the historic core allow them on designated streets, which drops your gas bill and turns errands into rolling small talk. Lifestyle trade is straightforward. Chickens allowed in parts of town, tractors in traffic during harvest, and yes, you can still do a Costco run without packing a survival kit. It's like living in a country postcard with a city escape hatch. Mini payoff. Keep costs tight all month, then splurge on city nights when you want. If oak tunnels and historic homes are your love language, the next town has both and more square footage per dollar. Number 13, Brooksville. A place where streets look like movie sets and acreage doesn't require a trust fund. That's Brooksville's cheat code, and you're not ready for how far a fixed income goes here. Brooksville is Hernando County's historic heart. Oak canopied roads, real hills, courthouse charm, and old Florida architecture that hasn't been sanitized into a theme park. It feels classic, but it's not stuck. With Spring Hill next door, does suburban spillover blow up costs? Here's the catch. The spillover brings groceries, clinics, and big box options, but the historic core and outlying tracks hold their own. The charm stays intact while the heavy errands move west. Let's break it down. Mixed housing stock is your opening. You've got vintage cottages, mid-century block homes, and rural parcels where you can park toys without HOA drama. Stay outside the newest subdivisions and the median home price stays friendlier than Spring Hill's busy corridors. That gap buys you space and quiet. Healthcare access is solid. Bayfront and Nature Coast Hospital networks serve the area, so routine care and imaging don't require a 2-hour caravan. Do your homework on geology, though. This region rides over karst terrain. Sinkholes are part of the vocabulary, so you order inspections, scan clue reports, and price insurance with ground stability in mind. A newer roof and a clean sinkhole history can save real money. Daily Cadence sells it. Flea markets on the weekend. Local BBQ that smokes slow and sells out. Bike the Good Neighbor Trail into the Withlacoochee network and call it cardio. Errands happen, but not at the expense of your day. Mini payoff. Save on the house, spend on toys, kayaks, gardening gear, maybe a used side-by-side for the trails. Want Central Florida proximity without theme park pricing? There's a phosphate town turned cheap base camp next. Number 14, Mulberry. 10 to 15 minutes from Lakeland, but it's like the price tags forgot the memo. That's Mulberry's whole pitch in one line. Mulberry sits next to phosphate country. Small, practical, and plugged into the Polk Parkway. You get low-key streets and quick exits to everything bigger. It's work boots at 7 a.m., porch lights at 8 p.m., and not much noise in between. Industrial Pass scares some buyers. Does that keep it a bargain? Yes, and that's the play. Perception drags the comps, so retirees who do homework snag value, while everyone else chases shinier zip codes. Here's the thing. You tap Lakeland's hospitals, grocers, and dining without paying Lakeland premiums. Median home price trends trail Lakeland and usually undercut Winter Haven, so your mortgage stays calm. Commute math is strong. Polk Parkway to I-4 puts Tampa and Orlando in realistic windows if you time it right. But here's the catch. You do your due diligence on environmental history and modern safeguards. Phosphate legacy means you read disclosures, check site reports, and make sure utilities and fill are up to code. Insurance inland is friendlier than coastal, and Polk property taxes stay workable. Homestead tightens the lid once you move in. Daily life? Fewer frills, easy drives, quiet evenings. Some neighborhoods run no HOA or keep fees light so you can park a small boat, plant a garden, and skip the letter about your mailbox color. It's like living in a commuter's side pocket. Close enough to borrow the fun, far enough to dodge the bill. Mini payoff. Spend less on the address, more on lifestyle. You're buying convenience adjacent, not hype, and your monthly burn shows it. Ready to end on the cheapest and the weirdest? Let's go west to the Forgotten Coast. Number 15, Apalachicola. A coastal town that feels like a movie set, and your budget doesn't flatline. That's Apalachicola's trick, and you're not ready for how livable it stays once you run the numbers. Shrimp boats, brick warehouses, an artsy maritime heartbeat on the Forgotten Coast. The pace is slow, the streets are human scale, and the storefronts look like they remembered how to age well. Coastal charm plus tourist equals expensive. So what's the angle? Here's the thing, scale. The town is small by design. Preservation rules keep the skyline low and the chaos lower. Distance from big airports filters the impulse buyers. That's how prices don't moonshot every season. You will still spend smart. Insurance after storms demands attention. Wind and flood are separate policies, and elevation matters block to block. FEMA maps will tell you which lots sit higher. Roofs and shutters change premiums fast. Seasonal rental rules trim the party house crowd, so investor pressure cools and year-rounders keep a foothold. Inventory runs quirky. Older cottages with bones that just need sweat equity? Fixers you can phase. You're not paying South Florida money, you're paying needs work and patience money. For care, Franklin County gives you hospital and urgent care access in town, with larger systems a drive away. Plan serious procedures, everyday stuff is covered. Trade-offs are clear. Long drives for big box runs. Incredible seafood on your block. It's quiet, then festival weekends pop and the sidewalks fill. Think of it like living in a classic vinyl record. Warm, a little scratchy, but the sound is right. Mini payoff. Coastal lifestyle without Naples debt. Accept the slower pace, keep more cash, and let the calendar breathe. That's the tour. Affordable, quirky, and very Florida. That's it for today. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more updates you won't want to miss.